2 years, 50 episodes. Thank you so much for being one of our longtime listeners. If you want to take a more active role in supporting the show, you can always, of course, write in. We love to get fan mail from you. We love to answer your questions. Or you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/shadesansketch. You can support the show for as little as $1, and we're giving you all kinds of goodies, exclusive content, exclusive episodes, episode art. It's all there for you. On to this week's episode.
Oh, ho, 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 hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch, a holiday edition.
A very special holiday edition.
Happy holidays, longtime listeners.
Happy Life Day.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Kwanzaa.
Happy Festivus.
For the rest of us.
For the rest of us. Guys, it's the season of giving. It's the season of Yuletide and good times and gift giving. That's important. That one's important for today.
Absolutely.
So
what a treasure.
What a treasure. Guys, so for this year's holiday special, shall we call it?
We third holiday special?
Is it? Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe our second?
I think it's our third.
Third.
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies.
We are celebrating the season together. We're eating out.
Yeah.
Just have a nice meal.
Really, best poutine ever.
Would you like another
the mic there a little bit. Sorry,
would you like another scoop of chocolate mousse?
Oh, I would relish.
You look like you could go for the horn.
Mousse. Yeah. Oh yeah. Give it to me.
Yeah. This is there's not many of these, but it's a Canadian themed restaurant. And I think
yes.
The closest one for you would be in Clamp Tower.
Probably,
yeah,
yes.
Clamp Tower, right New York.
New York. Clamp Tower.
Building of the future.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the automation. It's flawless.
Yes, that's
the word I would use.
That is a word.
That is a word.
I don't know if it's the word, but it's a word.
It's a word to use.
Yeah, sure.
So, guys, if we are in Clamp Tower enjoying some chocolate mousse.
New York City, New York.
Yep.
Circa 1990.
Yep. That must mean
we are talking,
for the holidays,
Gremlins!
The entire Gremlin cinematic universe.
Yes.
The GCU.
All two
movies.
Soon to be 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
If we're talking Gremlins, do we have a theme song
for
this
I believe we
episode?
Do, Sketch.
All right.
That's some bad engineering on my part.
Perfect. That was perfect timing, though.
It was.
That was the right thing to come in at the right time.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect. So, guys, Gremlins for Christmas.
Sketch.
I mean, for the holidays, but I mean, Gremlins. The first Gremlins takes place during Christmas.
Released in June.
Was it?
Yes, Gremlins came out the same. It premiered alongside Ghostbusters.
This was 84,
1984.
right? Yeah. Okay.
They premiered the same weekend. That's mind-boggling to me that these two movies opened against each other.
I did not know. I was shocked when I saw the opening credits that this was Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg, executive producer, and Amblin Entertainment.
Sure.
But yeah.
The fact that his name was on it.
In the same way that it's on Goonies.
Because the last time I saw this movie was so long ago that meant nothing to me.
Right.
You know, so to be watching it as an adult now and to be like, Steven Spielberg had something to do with Gremlins? Okay.
Say what?
I guess. But sure. So, guys, we're going to spoil everything Gremlins.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Gift giving, visiting New York for the holidays, entrepreneurial, bigger than life, New Yorkers. You know, a little bit of everything you'd expect from this time of year.
Yeah. I hope I get a bathroom buddy.
Okay. Well, guys, we will get there. Did you? Okay, just side note. Did you hear? It was a throwaway line in Gremlins 2, but one of the things his father was inventing back home, reversible toilet paper.
Yes, I caught it.
That is disgusting.
It is.
I mean, if you can make it work, it's helpful, and it would reduce a lot of waste. But
I can't imagine how that would work.
I can't figure out a way.
Can't figure it out.
Guys, if you can figure out how reversible
Right into the show.
No, I was gonna say leave that shit to yourself because I do not want like, diagrams and stuff being sent home.
Send that to Sketch's door.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. I'm starting to think people just don't know where I live because I'm still waiting on my Sequest
entirely
DSV
possible.
blueprint. It's the holiday season.
It is.
Perfect time to get
Well,
it.
I mean, you've got our physical GOCO
Oh, that's true.
address.
We do have a physical GOCO address
the
now.
GOCO address. Sketch, what's your history with Gremlins?
Okay, my history with Gremlins is I saw it. I don't know when. I don't know how young I was, but I saw it. And some things that I remember I'll talk about later in some rants and raves. But I saw it before I could even assign a date to the memory. Sometime in my young childhood, I saw it.
Cool.
Never saw it again.
Really?
So then, like I was aware of Gremlins references and stuff like that. I just never saw it again until we put the old noggins together and decided what to tackle for the holiday season.
Holiday episode this year. Yeah,
and glad we did. Glad we chose Gremlins.
Oh yeah,
definitely worth a revisit.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And this is the 35th
this
anniversary.
This is the 35th anniversary. Yeah, so I guess June was the 35th anniversary.
Blows you away.
It really does. Sketch, we're old.
That's where Gremlins 1, of course.
Yes. Gremlins 2, the new batch, was 1990.
Right. It feels very 1990.
It does.
Watch it. And I always had this idea that maybe I only saw one of them and not both because I didn't have many clear memories of it.
Sure.
But you remember I texted you after I watched the first one, and I was like,
I guess I've seen it.
There's a scene I'm missing. It must be in 2.
What was that scene?
Doesn't exist. Wasn't in 2 either.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I have this
really
clear
confused.
memory of someone being terrorized by gremlins, but they're like in a carnival, and whacking them with a mallet.
That might be Critters.
Maybe it's Critters.
Do you ever see Critters?
Maybe. If there's a scene where they're whacking him with a mallet, like in a whack-a-mole machine,
that might be Critters.
It would make sense that it would probably be aired around the same time as Gremlins, and so I probably watched it all in a big block.
Yeah.
There was a clear point in watching both of these movies where nothing felt familiar at all until a scene. And then I was like, oh. I remember this. In both movies that happened. So I definitely saw them. Can't tell you when. And I'll talk more about it later with Rants and Raves.
And is that a fond memory?
What, the mallet one or just
Gremlins? Did you remember them with any kind of affection? Like when you were rewatching and you were like, oh,
no affection, but no disgust.
Okay.
Just an experience.
Just an
experience.
I like that.
Yeah. That was it. Jades, what about you?
I saw the first movie very early in life.
Theaters?
Not in theaters.
You were
I would have been
not quite born.
7 months old.
Okay, 7 months old.
Really?
Yeah. Your grandma didn't take you to that one.
She didn't? No.
Wow.
Okay. Drop the ball, Grandma.
Uh-huh.
Graham dropped the ball on that one.
So you saw it young.
I saw it so I have an older cousin, Josh, who is 10 years older than me, maybe. That sounds about right.
Sure.
8 years older than me. And just loved horror movies. I mean, just delighted in them. Well, sci-fi in general, fantasy, but particularly horror movies. And he was like my older cousin that funny as hell, too cool.
Yeah.
And just, delighted going to his house and video games and action figures. And
is this the same cousin that introduced you to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the comic book?
That was my uncle. That was my uncle that introduced me to the comic book. This would be my cousin who introduced me to Transformers.
Okay.
He had all the Transformers. But I remember him loving this movie, and it must have been like a very early VHS, I would imagine, or maybe they had. No, I don't think HBO was out yet. Was it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. But I have very early movie memories of this movie and just thinking Gizmo was awesome and the other Gremlins were fucking terrifying. And just being absolutely terrified of the other Gremlins.
Yeah. I could still get behind that.
Yeah, the Gremlins. One note that I made about the Gremlins is that they are appropriately terrifying and delightful.
Mhm. I can get behind that.
Equally.
Yeah.
And
I'll support that statement.
his thing was that Gizmo looked like Yoda.
Yeah, very much
It was
so.
basically like
A furry Yoda.
a
young furry
a
Yoda.
young furry Yoda. Yeah. So I have very early memories of this movie and just being terrorized by it, and my cousin torturing me with it. It was in line with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
That we watched this at some point, and it scarred me. And so when I kicked it on, I was like, "Oh, that gave me nightmares for a very long time." Spike, was it Spike the mohawked one? Stripe. I have very clear memories of nightmares that I used to have about Stripe.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. We're gonna unpack those guys.
Sure. This is going to be a shades therapy session.
This is what Christmas is all about.
It is.
Unpacking your friend's deep-rooted emotional trauma.
And I guess I've seen it on television a bunch of times since then. I don't think I ever saw any of like one or two all the way through again.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched the first movie, when you said like, "Oh, there's this scene that I remember," and I must have seen too because it's not in the first one, and I texted you Rambo.
Yeah.
Because I have a very clear memory from early in life of Gizmo.
Yeah.
Going like watching Rambo 3, where Rambo 3 is just like the epitome of ridiculous 80s action movies. He has exploding arrows that he fires from a compound recurve bow.
Much like Gizmo
fashions for himself. And I think it was like Stripe 2, whatever they call him in like the Mohawked one and 2.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if they even called him anything.
It's basically supposed to be Stripe Reborn.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I have a clear memory of that being in the first movie. It's not. It's in 2. So clearly I saw the second movie at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was. And I didn't remember much about that movie. So I would imagine it was
Rambo to me, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
So I was like, I've ever seen a Rambo movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. I knew what you meant when you said Rambo.
Yeah, but like
in regards to Gremlins, I was like, huh? And then when I queued up 2 and he's watching it, I was like, oh, this is going to be Chekhov's Rambo. And he's going to be Rambo at the end. And then when I saw him as Rambo.
That's a t-shirt.
There
Chekhov's Rambo. That is a t-shirt.
And then when I saw him as Rambo, it was kind of coming back a little bit.
Oh, man.
Very similar.
I think we found our episode art for this one.
Maybe. Very similar to Beetlejuice in that like very little recognition on the beginning parts of either of these two movies.
Yeah.
Obviously the staying power is when the Gremlins show up.
My note for the beginning of Gremlins is that it's like it opens like a 1930s crime noir with the dad narrating.
Oh yeah.
And like the clearly reused set from like Big Trouble in Little China or maybe even Temple of Doom come out at that point? 81, right?
Yeah.
So or 82 in between Star Wars movies?
My first note was
80?
2 nuns in a rickshaw.
Yeah.
That could be the episode art.
So I mean it's so clearly like Big Trouble in Little China, Temple of Doom, and those were both movies like modeled on 1930s crime noir stories. And it was so bizarre.
Very bizarre.
So bizarre with the dad narrating. Because it was such an interesting choice because it was supposed to be a horror movie. And obviously the dad survives because he's telling the story after the fact.
And not only that, he's our narrator telling the story. He wasn't there for the events.
For the events of the story.
No.
It's such an interesting choice.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre choice.
It is a lot of bizarre choices in these two movies. And guys, I usually say we're going to get there. For the holiday season, I'm going to say, we're going to unwrap them. We're going to unwrap them.
Do you want to do a synopsis? Do you want to do the history? How do we usually do this?
History.
History first. Okay.
Gremlins
was produced at a time when combining horror and comedy had become increasingly popular. 1984, it premieres, as I said, against Ghostbusters. They open the same weekend. And it's a 1980s humorous take on the Gremlin concept. Are you familiar with the Gremlin concept?
I am.
Okay. So Gremlins go back to World War II. And it was RAF pilots and mechanics trying to explain all of the mechanical failures that would go wrong with their Spitfires. A very maneuverable plane, but a plane built from parts that were, for the most part, lying around. So prone to frequent mechanical errors. And they would, they would talk about gremlins. Just a way to, like, a fanciful way to talk about the terror of being in a flying coffin.
Goblins are an ancient token of folklore that have been around for eons,
millennia,
and
let's say,
ages throughout multiple different cultures.
Yeah.
Gremlins are a very new addition to folklore in that they are, by definition, tied to technology.
Yes.
They exist to cause havoc in technology.
Right.
Machines, and you could even say these days computers. So it's so neat. It's so neat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get there, but pretty faithful in the first movie, like a faithful depiction of that idea of a gremlin.
Very much.
And the depiction
very
as
much.
We would understand them in lore. So, and it also kind of makes sense because the guy that you meet that's like talking about the foreigners and everything's anti-foreign. I was like, okay, well, I get why the name Gremlin comes from him, because he is of that era.
Yeah, he's a World War II vet.
Yeah. So
talking about all these, like, foreign cars, foreign machines, and he has this the American Harvester tractor that's a old reliable tractor that the Gremlins do eventually get in,
because it's anything tech,
anything
mechanical.
Yeah, I thought that was you hit it. It was like such a, in the first movie in particular, such a poignant depiction of that specificity of the Gremlin. Where do we go from there? So in 1943, Roald Dahl wrote a book called Gremlins, in which it's along the lines of all of his stories, kind of like a dark twist on a fairy tale. And the other big point of reference, specifically that comes to be parodied repeatedly over and over and barred upon, is a Merry Melodies Looney Tunes cartoon where Bugs Bunny is on a World War II flying fortress and encounters a gremlin. The episode is called Falling Hair.
Well, I get it. Do you get it?
Yes.
Guys?
Yeah. Did everybody get that one?
Doesn't work great in podcasts. That's a spelling pun.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we got it.
And that particular idea of the gremlin in the Twilight Zone does it, Star Trek does it. It gets used over and over in the gremlin in the aircraft. Where do we go from there? This movie in particular came from writer Chris Columbus,
your favorite
writer director, Chris Columbus. I texted you, if Joe Johnson is my favorite writer director, Chris Columbus is my least favorite. I can almost, I said this, Elise and I were watching this and I turned to her within 10 minutes of the movie. I was like, I bet this is a Chris Columbus movie, before I had done any research.
And lo and behold,
it was. Chris Columbus, power writer of the 80s, frequent collaborator with Steven Spielberg, based this concept at late at night or early in the morning in bed in his loft, and he would hear mice in the wall. What he describes as a, quote, platoon of mice in the walls, causing havoc and wreaking mischief.
Sure.
And that is where this particular concept, I guess that's maybe like, don't get them wet, don't expose them to sunlight, don't feed them after midnight.
Yeah, your set of rules.
You're trying to sleep.
Yep.
So that kind of makes sense. And the first one in particular is kind of a rousing success. The studio immediately wanted a sequel. Director Joe Dante did not want to be a part of it. And Chris Columbus does not write the sequel, Gremlins 2.
Okay.
Joe Dante, family, this was a standalone movie. It has a very clear end. There's no point in doing a sequel. It is what it is. We told a story. We're in, we're out. People loved it. Let's not ruin it. How much do you think this movie cost?
48 bathroom buddies.
Maybe. I don't know how much a Bathroom Buddy costs to make.
Yeah.
You stand on that?
I'm going to stand on
I'm going
that.
to give it to you.
Yeah.
This movie cost $11 million to make.
That's exactly how much
48 Bathroom Buddies cost.
48 Bathroom Buddies cost. I nailed it. Nailed it.
How much do you think it made, Sketch?
I think it was a success.
It was very much a
Now,
success.
see, without me knowing, like, at all, I think it was I think it was a success, and I think it made 3 times that.
I'm terrible at math, but it made $153.1 million.
And that's 3 times.
Is it really?
I don't know. I forget what you said.
I'm going to give it to you. 11 million. 48 Bathroom Buddies.
Okay.
I don't know if it's 3
The
times.
math is wrong, but
the math is wrong, but
the notion is right.
it is stupidly successful.
Yeah.
That's a stupid amount of money to make on $11 million.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, when you think of it, that's like an animated computer, cheaply done computer animation. I think that's what Teen Titans Go to the Movies cost.
Okay.
I think
Great movie, by the way.
a great movie, by the way. I think Beetlejuice was somewhere in there.
Okay.
When you think of like the puppetry that went into this,
Sure.
and
and we're gonna unwrap it.
we're gonna unwrap that. My favorite Easter egg that I noticed. I'll be very interested. I want to ask you about it when we're done with the history.
Okay.
I didn't register at first until we went back to it later in the movie.
Now let me ask you this, because I'm not of the I'm not of the vein of a horror aficionado.
Sure.
Is this a typical theme in horror, like a Christmas horror?
Yes.
It is.
Oh yeah. Oh
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
Very much so. Not so much with like the slasher
Mhm.
horror movies, but there's a whole string of like Christmas sleigh.
Because
Christmas
one of the things I liked about it was the juxtaposition of horror in a small town Christmas setting.
Yeah.
But if that's a typical theme, then I can't.
I don't know if it in a
Gremlins.
small town Christmas setting
Mhm.
is the thing, but certainly a horror movie set at a holiday.
Yeah. I liked that about it. I didn't write it down as a rave,
Yeah.
but I liked that.
I think it worked particularly well in this.
Yeah. It did.
But I don't. Yeah, I would. It's not uncommon. Let's say.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the norm, but
Yeah.
it's certainly happened in
Yeah.
other properties.
Okay.
Gremlins 2,
Gremlins 2, a new batch.
the new batch.
The
Yes,
new batch.
1990 sequel. Parodies the sequel genre in general that had taken place in Hollywood throughout the 80s and subsequently would continue into the 90s.
I'm so glad we're past our fascination with sequels and that we're just back into like fresh content.
So Warner Brothers immediately wanted a sequel.
Yeah.
And
So
they
successful.
asked, it was stupidly successful.
Mhm.
And they went to Joe Dante immediately, or like, start working on the sequel. He said no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a part of it. They went through multiple directors, multiple writers, and it went into production a couple times only for them to stop. Where in 1988, 89, they went back to Joe Dante and said, look, apparently you're the only guy that can do this. What's it going to take for you to do a Gremlins sequel? And Joe Dante said, I need complete creative control
Wow.
of this movie.
And they gave it to him?
And they gave it to him.
Wow.
And I feel like this has been Warner Brothers trauma since.
Mhm.
I feel like Warner Brothers has never given complete creative control to anybody on anything ever again.
Burned him a little bit.
Yeah. That's a Justice League DC reference.
Do you
Longtime
have
listeners.
the financial numbers on
Oh,
Gremlins
yes, I
2?
do.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked, Sketch. So this Joe Dante goes all in on this one.
Mhm.
The version that you watched, was it intercut with Looney Tunes?
It
cuts?
wasn't intercut. It was started with a Looney Tunes animation and it was ended with one, but it there weren't any in the middle.
Okay, so we started watching the same cut, and I instantly remembered seeing a version of this that was the theatrical cut of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And it has some minute differences that kind of created an immersive, interactive experience for people in the theater.
Okay.
And so,
Well, I saw
when
scenes like that too.
they were changed for a home release.
Okay.
In the theater, there were other instances that would happen particular? Are we thinking of like the VHS scene where the VHS cuts
so
out?
there's the VHS cuts out.
Right.
There's where the film projector breaks down and there's gremlins in the booth.
Yes.
And there's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we did watch the same version.
Yeah.
That's the yes. That's the theatrical cut of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, we watched the same one. The Hulk. Oh my God, Hulk Hogan.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah. I mean, like, but just imagine seeing that on a big screen.
Oh, I know. I wrote that down for notes.
People thought in early screenings, people were so into it. They were like, it took them a second.
Yeah.
That it was part of the film.
Yeah.
So we did watch the same version.
I wrote that down on my notes too. Like, all right, this is a little silly right now, but I'm putting myself back in a theater when this was out. And,
exactly.
And that had to have been so much fun.
It's exactly. And so Joe Dante says, we've already done the horror comedy.
Yeah.
Sequels abound. We are just going to have fun.
Yeah.
This is just going to be a fun, another story in this universe that does not take itself seriously. So the first one's horror comedy. This is, I'm sick of dealing with studios. You want me to ruin Gremlins? Okay. There's no way we're going to recapture what we did.
This is spoof horror.
This is spoof horror at its height.
Yes.
And I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
I think it is so meta and so smart, particularly the way he did it. And there's one moment that stands out. And you kind of hope that he does and does not do it. And when it happens, I was like, perfect. The Bat Gremlin. From the time they create the Bat Gremlin, you know that there has to be a Batman reference at some point. And the way they did it,
blatant.
It is blatant. It's in your face and it's unapologetic. And I love it. I love it. I'm guessing what that is that Batman Returns was announced.
Oh, sure.
And you almost knew Batman Returns wasn't going to be good because Michael Keaton didn't really want to do it. And Tim Burton didn't really want to do it. And so, like, nobody involved really wanted to be there. And I think you get that in Batman Returns. And it was just, it's so unapologetic that this is horror comedy and not received as well. At one point, they reference the first movie the sequel of the second movie.
They review the first movie.
Which is almost a shot-for-shot actual review of the first movie. They actually got the film reviewer.
That's excellent.
So, and they had changed the set at this point. So they revamped that set from 84. They got him back to give his same review. And then the Gremlins attack him. It's so meta.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
Yeah, that's another one in the vein of like, yeah, I did.
It's right there with it.
Very long time
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is like ridiculous horror comedy. But then Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes has George Clooney in it, and it's right in this vein, and it's annoyingly, stupidly brilliant.
You just made me remember that there's a cartoon.
Yes, the cartoon is called Revenge of the Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It was
There you go,
or something like that, because it's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and then Revenge of the Return, I think.
Okay.
And
right.
like,
I'm not going to argue.
They go back to the girl being a tomato. She like this tomato, when she gets wet, she turns back into a tomato, or when she gets hot, she turns back into a tomato. Maybe. Or was that the car? The kid that turns into the car?
Symbolic.
80s cartoons.
Puberty,
it really is. Yeah. Remember the hot, like, I can't remember the name of it, but like when you like put him in a hot, like he got overheated, he would turn into a sports car.
No.
You don't remember that?
I
that
don't
was
remember
another
that.
80s, like, priceless
If
80s
you got
cartoon.
hot?
Yeah.
Temperature-wise?
Temperature-wise.
Ridiculous.
It is, isn't it? He would turn into a
sports car. That's ridiculous.
It is.
Okay, back to Gremlins.
I think it was called Hot Rod, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. And his name was Rod?
Maybe, yeah.
I hope it was. If you're setting it up
I
that
hope
much.
so, too. We digress. Gremlins 2. This is not the 80s.
What do you mean we digress? You're the one digressing all over the place here.
You threw in the cartoon. Okay, so they give Joe Dante complete creative control. He refuses to give the studio updates. We get the movie that we get. How much do you think the new batch cost to make?
How much did the first one cost?
$11 million.
I'm going to say they gave him $25 million to make this one.
Oof. Double it.
Whoa, $50 million?
They gave him $50 million to make the new batch. How much did it make?
How much did the first one make again?
$153.1 million.
This did not make that.
It did not.
I will say 75 million.
Ooh, you are generous, Sketch. I'm going to give it to you, though. $41.5 million.
I would have figured just
that
by
is
people
a
seeing
commercial failure.
Yeah.
Did not make back its budget.
That's a bummer.
And it pretty much destroyed the Gremlins universe from
Guys,
that point.
Did you know Christopher Lee was in this movie?
Oh, I have that note. Christopher Lee is priceless. Right there, Gremlins 2. Christopher Lee is priceless.
Yeah. Did you know he's on screen with a baby elephant? The comedy of
legit
him,
baby elephant.
The comedy of him getting his diseases in the mail. That was a well-written comedy shtick, you know?
It really, this is what I mean.
Like, oh, is that what was he hoping for?
Like Ebola, I think.
Oh, is that my Ebola?
Was that my Ebola?
No.
No.
It's the flu. Oh. I got the flu. I did want Ebola. Last week they gave me rabies. Like, come on, Christopher Lee.
Oh my God.
Count Dooku.
Presenting
yes. Those lines. Okay.
Would you have imagined that Christopher Lee had a career after this movie?
No.
Me either.
No.
Like, particularly Star Wars?
And I love that they put Christopher Lee in this movie, but not as the character that dresses up as Dracula.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they're just making all of these things. They're making all of these decisions.
Christopher Lee as a deranged mad scientist, like hell-bent on creating a super germ.
Yep.
Oh my God. He goes all in. I mean, he chews some scenery.
Yes, he does.
In this movie.
He commits.
Oh my goodness. And the two twin guys that are his like lab assistants.
I liked them.
They were great.
That was a great little reveal too. How's the genetic cloning process coming along? And then his clone pops up. We're making great progress.
It was great. It was great. I'm Sketch. I'm going to say something controversial here.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not. Okay.
Nope. He's not gonna. He's
chickened
out, everybody. You heard it.
Do we need summary synopsis?
We found the line.
I think you get it. Do we need a synopsis?
Do you have one prepared?
I don't.
No, we don't need one.
Gremlins. The universe begins with a father in search of the Christmas present for his son.
Yep.
He's taken to a otherworldly, antique, kind of kitsch shop that is run by an elderly Asian gentleman.
Yeah, a very mystical.
Yes, they use the term "quote unquote" Oriental store. Not politically correct today.
They use that in Gremlins 2
and they use it in Gremlins 2.
Where business gets oriented.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, dated term, good slogan for the day.
Yes. The
dated term.
A lot of
didn't age.
Neither of these movies aged particularly well, I thought. So the dad goes into this shop and settles on a new pet.
Mogwai?
A Mogwai.
Mogwai.
Or a Maugwai.
Mogwai. That's
and it is a burden to take care of the Maugwai.
Yes. But the kid sells it anyway.
The kid sells it anyway. They need the money. The
shop needs the money.
Whatever the guy's name, Clamp's gonna demolish the building if they don't pay the rent. They need the money.
Yep.
So he sells the Maugwai.
Yep.
And brings it home to his son, who immediately disregards the rules.
No, he was following the rules very well. He
got Gizmo wet.
Corey Feldman got him wet.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was the one.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman got Gizmo wet. Okay,
guys, did you know Corey Feldman was in this movie?
There's 3 rules. Very simple. 1,
don't get them wet.
2,
don't put them in direct sunlight.
3,
don't feed them after midnight.
Simple rules. And Billy, the son, following the rules very well. He is taking it very seriously.
Okay.
Corey Feldman comes in and Feldman's up the whole place.
He does Feldman up the whole thing.
Gets Gizmo wet.
Oh my God.
Gizmo's the great Gremlin.
Gremlin, yes. The name of Gizmo.
And
little
fur things come off of him.
Basically tribbles start shooting off of him.
Yep. Turn into new Gremlins.
Yes.
And they just start
mucking up the place. That was the other thing. That was the one thing. Why were Gizmo's offspring immediately mischievous?
Yeah.
They were already evil before.
That's one of my big questions.
Fed them after midnight.
Do you want me to ask my big question?
We can hang on to it.
Okay. We'll hang on. Guys, we'll unwrap that one.
Hilarity and hijinks ensue. As you imagine, more gremlins means more people interacting with them, which means nobody knows or follows the rules.
Yep. Eventually they eat. Then they turn into demonic
fanged,
gremlins.
Goblins. They turn into goblins.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
And they have
They will literally
no regard for human life.
eat your face.
Yep.
They will literally eat your face.
And in the first movie, they wreak havoc on a town.
Your face.
In the second movie, they wreak havoc on a
Building
smart
of the future.
building in New York City.
Was not very smart building.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the movie. You beat the How do you beat the Gremlins?
Basically, you just shove them into the sun.
Yeah.
Or you get them super wet and electrocute them.
Yeah, you can do that too.
That was not a rule. I
That's
didn't
not
understand that.
You can electrocute them, like to kill them, I guess.
I guess.
And that's Gremlins.
It's Gremlins.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Woo!
All right.
Scores?
Internet scores. All important
Gremlins.
internet scores. Ho, ho,
IMDb gives Gremlins a 7.3. Rotten
Okay.
Tomatoes. Critic score 84%. Fan score 78%. Google reviewers 86% of Google reviewers like Gremlins.
It's kind of low for
And-
Google.
Yeah, it is. And I gave it a 70.
Okay.
My big issue with the first movie is that there are just, I mean, and I should have gone back and written down their names. There are just iconic character actors
Mhm.
that are holding this movie up
Mhm.
throughout the whole thing.
Mhm.
Billy,
Mhm.
I did not get the actor's name,
Yeah, Billy.
but Billy and Phoebe Cates, who is like geek fan by Queen at this point.
And that's Kate.
Kate, yeah. They're both terrible. I mean, they are terrible
Mhm.
in this movie. Phoebe Cates a little less so than Billy, but maybe this was his first movie. I don't know, but he was painful to
Wow.
watch.
Shots
I really,
fired.
yeah, I really did not enjoy him.
Pew, pew. From what I understand, he was a horror actor, specifically in horror movies.
That jives.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was.
That's what my wife looked up because she was looking at people in this movie.
He was really,
Mhm.
really
Are you getting into rants?
white bread, vanilla ice cream,
Okay.
plain Jane,
So who's holding it up?
Dapper
Who's holding up
Dan.
the movie?
The Mr. Futtermeyer, was that his name?
Who the fuck is that?
The old vet.
Oh, yeah. No, he was great.
And
I'm glad he didn't die.
I'm also they allude to the fact that he died.
Oh, yeah. If this was a
But then-
one-off, he was dead.
He was dead.
Yeah.
But I love that they brought him back in the
Yep.
sequel. Spoilers, they brought him back in the
Yep.
sequel. And then the
old lady?
The old lady.
The old lady was so fucking clutch. She was awesome.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think the movie would have worked without her.
She
Because there was no villain.
She was.
The Gremlins weren't really villainous. They were just doing what they do.
She was. I wrote it down in my notes, and without looking it up, I think I wrote down she's the perfect combination of Cruella de Vil,
Yeah.
Ebenezer Scrooge,
Perfect.
and I do remember thinking one other as well.
Old
but
Man Potter from It's a Wonderful Life.
Sure.
He owns the bank.
Yeah.
And they kind of allude to the fact that she owns the bank.
Yeah. Just some kind of clout in town.
Yeah.
Oh, she was so.
The bank had the
She
same
was-
name as her.
She was a great, horrible person.
Yes.
And when they.
Kill her?
Okay.
You cheer.
A little bit before they kill her, when they flash to her house and she just has so many fucking cats, I was like, oh, of course she has.
Of course
so
she
many
has so
fucking
many
cats.
fucking cats.
Oh, okay, that's perfect.
It is.
Yeah, and then they kill her, and it was awesome.
It was amazing.
She had
and
a great death.
I had vivid memories. Basically from the time we started it, I turned to Elise, was like, wait for it. At some point, they're gonna kill an old lady in a chair elevator.
Yeah.
And it's fucking amazing.
The point of the movie,
Does that make me a terrible person? Possibly, but it's funny.
but it's not the only thing that makes you.
It's true. That's fair.
This is the holiday season, and I'm giving you that is not the only thing that makes you a horrible person.
It's fair. Just this morning, I picked a fight with someone's deceased aunt.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
I remember that.
mean, I did. And does that make me a terrible person? Yes, it does.
But it's just one
But
of
I'm gonna
many.
Own it.
It's a
going
small
to own it.
percentage. Small percentage of the reason.
Small. Minuscule.
The point in the movie where all of a sudden I started actually remembering the movie was when Stripe, that's his name?
Yes,
Stripe jumps
Stripe.
into the pool at the YMCA. Then I was like, oh, this is coming back to me.
Yeah.
And that's where everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
Too.
It does.
Yeah.
Frank Welker voiced all of the evil gremlins.
That's awesome.
And
Howie Mandel voiced
Howie
Gizmo.
Mandel voices Gizmo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some great voice actors. And also Michael Winslow, I think,
Mhm.
is also another voice of a number of the Gremlins. He is the character in Police Academy.
Yeah, he's like sound effect guy.
Sound effect guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, he's also in Spaceballs.
Yeah, he is. He is in Spaceballs. Correct.
Spaceballs is such a great movie.
Yeah. Oh my God, we should do Spaceballs at some point.
You didn't do. Do you? Oh, see. Okay, give your score for Gremlins 2 because I didn't separate them.
Okay.
I just did the entire GCU.
Okay, so I gave it 70. Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Yeah.
IMDb gives it a 6.4.
Uh-huh.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 69% fan and critic score. Fans and critics are in sync on this one.
Wow.
And Google reviews, 88% of Google reviewers like
Isn't
Gremlins
that a little
2.
higher than
That's
Gremlins 1?
2 points higher than Gremlins.
Yeah.
And I gave it an 80.
Okay.
Guys, I know this is controversial. I enjoyed Gremlins 2, the new batch, more so than Gremlins. And I'm happy to unpack that a little bit after you give your scores.
Okay.
I know that's controversial. I hope you'll keep listening.
No, they all let
we can just chalk it up to another thing that makes me a terrible person.
We're just talking to the wind now at this point.
And I understand that this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I prefer Gremlins to the new batch.
Okay, I
Sketch,
did not.
Tell us your score for Gremlins.
I did not separate the two. I just scored the entire GCU as a whole, and I gave it a 78. And
nice.
now that you're making me think which one I liked better, I don't know which one I liked better. There are aspects of both I like more than the other. It honestly would come down to what would I be in the mood for? What would I be in the mood to watch?
That's fair.
Because it's two strikingly different movies.
They are.
With two strikingly different tones.
Do you want to unpack it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean...
I'll give my combined score was a 75 for the universe.
It's going to filter into my rants and raves.
Sure. So
let's unwrap it.
Let's unwrap this present.
What should we open first?
Raves.
It's the holiday season.
Sure. So
let's go
my
into
combined
this
Gremlin score is a 75. It's right on par with 78.
Yeah. We did the math. We got it.
Raves. You want to start?
The GCU. Now what I did was I wrote down 2 raves for each. 2 raves for one.
I have a lot of. I combined my rants and raves for both, so I might bounce back and forth a little bit.
Sure, per usual.
Yeah,
per usual.
You want to start?
I will start with a rave for the first one.
Okay.
And I am going to say Billy.
Wow. Now, okay.
Not necessarily the acting, because fine, the acting isn't great, but fine. But I will say that as a character, I like that he breaks like a lot of the stereotypes because he's a teenager. He's not like a little boy. He's a teenager, but he's brave, but he's also very caring. Like he's caring and nurturing for Gizmo. He cuddles him and he's not afraid to like to be nurturing, which I feel like I didn't grow up with a lot of that in the 80s and early 90s, like seeing a boy teenage character in a nurturing role, right?
I will echo that.
And he's responsible. He's holding down a job. He's
at a bank.
He's a teenager, and this lady has it out for him.
Does bring his dog to work.
He does bring his dog to work.
That was not.
But it's legitimately not safe at home for his dog. Like one of those inventions is going to murder his dog. He's basically supporting his family.
We'll get to that in a minute because it is straight up a murder house.
He's supporting his family and he's not complaining about any of it. Like there's not a scene of like, woe is me, my life is tough. Like he's supporting his family. He's there for his mother. He comes home from a hard day at work. He immediately is like, what can I do to help? Let me help make dinner. I'll use this nightmare egg cracking machine. Like everything in that house is a death trap.
The juicer.
The father is like
the juicer that is like baby vomit.
Well, I also wrote there is way too much juice in this orange. There's too much juice.
That in this juicer. Long time listeners. If just like projectile pea soup baby vomit.
And for the most part, he was very respectful of Kate.
Yes.
He was definitely into her.
I made a note about gender portrayals of the 1980s. This completely broke with that.
Yeah.
Particularly broke with Goonies, which was like 180 in the other direction.
Yeah. And so that's why I labeled Billy as a rave.
I mean,
because
My first note in this movie is basically like, oh, I can't stand Gremlins. Billy, he's like so terrible. And your first rave is like, Billy's fucking awesome. And I can't argue with you. And I guess we could just add that to yet another reason why I'm a horrible human being.
Because he's like, well, but listen, he might not be portrayed wonderfully Oscar worthy, but the fact that he was written that way
is written well.
Is I go, thank you for giving us that in 84.
I will have to agree with that. Certainly, he is a better human being than any of the characters in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, what's your first rave?
My first rave, I was going to start here.
Yeah.
Billy's mom.
That's my next rave.
Billy's mom is fucking amazing. My note for Billy's mom is she could straight up fight the Predator.
She is
such a fucking badass.
The number one gremlin slayer in the entire GCU. In the entire GCU.
Strong agree.
Yes.
She straight up murders 3 gremlins on her, and not kills, nay, murders.
Oh, no. She massacres them. Yes.
Gremlins from the time the first thing she does is grab a knife to go upstairs in the house. Before Billy even calls and tells her what's going on, she grabs a butcher's knife.
Yeah.
Goes upstairs and whatever she's ready to throw down. She's ready to throw down from the first minute, and you don't get that. She's a sleeper character.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of think she's kind of a pushover, but she is a strong suburban housewife.
She's holding down the fort while Dad's out there like fucking up the country with his murder machines.
Can you imagine using the bathroom buddy?
Oh yeah.
It would. You need serious medical attention. I mean, all of these, and she kills them with the inventions that he has made, like the blender thing.
And then she comes downstairs after like, oh no. And what does she do? Now, one thing you can do, leave the house.
She makes 0 attempts.
She grabs
leave the house.
Second knife. She starts dual wielding kitchen knives, and she is ready to throw down.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, she is badass.
Oh, what?
She is the MVP of this movie.
She is. And I was so sad that she wasn't in the second movie.
Yeah.
I was so sad to see that.
But you know what? I'm okay with her not being in the second movie because it would have diminished her.
It would have diminished.
She was so great in the first movie.
So strong. Billy's, I don't even think she had a name. I think she was just mom. Billy's mom.
Remind me. Okay. She puts one in the juicer blender.
She puts one in the mixer.
Yep. She puts one in the microwave.
One in the microwave. And I think she just straight up stabs
the other
one.
Might be. Yeah, I'm blanking on it. I do know there
were 3. I'm blanking on
the
third kill. But one in the microwave explodes.
Yep.
One in the
juicer thing.
It wasn't a juicer. It was a stand mixer.
Yeah.
Stand mixer.
Yeah, it just tore apart. All that's left are feet, just feet and guts.
I think she stabbed.
That's possible. One. I just can't even remember.
And then I know
her
she
and
killed Billy. They throw it in the fireplace. That's the one Billy helps her kill. I think she stabbed one.
Yeah, I feel like she stabbed one too. Yeah, I mean she's holding her own against 2 gremlins at once.
Yes.
Who have ambushed her from the tree.
The tree.
Which was an awesome visual.
It was.
With the tree behind her and with all the lights and then their eyes are glowing. Awesome visual. Best visual of the whole movie.
I would agree.
And so they come out, they attack her, and she's holding them off before Billy gets there, and then slices off one of their heads with a sword.
Yes,
that's fucking awesome.
It is, and
she's just clutch. She's so great.
I was very disappointed when he brings her to the neighbor's house. It's like, watch mom.
Yeah,
like what? You just took your MVP out of the game, Billy.
Yeah, I think mom protected that neighbor from dying. That's how I interpret the whole rest of the movie. Because the body count at the end of Gremlins is high.
It is surprising. I
Very
started
high.
keeping it in the first. I had
the Gremlins legit kill a lot of people.
Before the turn, I had the teacher, the neighbors, Santa,
Santa,
Mrs. Deagle. Her name's Deagle. Mrs. Deagle.
Santa stuck with me from a childhood.
Yeah, I remember.
Like watching Santa get
that's what did it.
Clawed up. Like I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's
dark to see as a child.
The teacher, the neighbors, Santa.
The 2 police officers.
The 2 police officers are dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Mrs. Deagle.
Yeah.
I have the 2 cops there.
Super dead.
And Rockin' Ricky.
No, he's alive. Because
at the end of the movie, he comes back. Yeah.
He's like, there's been some Crazy shit going on here.
Rockin' Ricky.
Yeah. So Rockin' Ricky's alive, but
And he was basically supposed to be Howard Stern, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Rockin' Ricky. He sounded like Howard Stern. I wouldn't be surprised if that was an uncredited Howard Stern.
Maybe it was.
Maybe.
Rockin'
Ricky survived. His producer died. Somebody at Rockin' Ricky's died.
Oh yeah,
because you hear the screaming.
People died all over the place.
But I mean, conservatively, I would say a dozen people in town.
I would get behind a dozen. I would get behind a dozen. Yeah.
And they lead you to believe the Futtermans died.
Yeah.
They were run over by a harvester.
I would count them in the deaths of
the first movie.
Yeah. I mean,
they're only brought back as a sequel.
It is just so that they can be in the second movie that they are written in that. Like, nope, it was just a big fright.
Yep.
They were okay. Yeah, a lot of death.
A lot of surprising body count.
Billy's mom was awesome.
I imagine everybody that was in the bar when the Gremlins showed up.
Sure.
Everybody in the movie theater when the Gremlins showed up, dead. Sure. Just dead at the feet of the Gremlins. Dead. So dead. I mean, how many? You worked in a theater. How many people does a theater like that seat?
Oh, hundreds.
Yeah. So like hundreds of people dead at the feet of the Gremlins.
Yeah. Small town though. Small town.
This might be a great point. We're talking about the town. Did you?
And it was a late night showing of Snow White
and the Seven Dwarfs.
So might not have been like
released in 1984.
The most packed theater, but
I remember that being pretty big. I had a poster from Burger King.
No, I agree it was big. I'm just saying.
Did you catch that the town was the town from Back to the Future?
Oh no, I didn't.
That was like the theater at the end of so whatever backlot that it must be the Universal backlot.
Mm-hmm.
That was the and this came out before Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
The town hall had a brick facade, and they redressed it like all in white for Back to the Future. But it is Hilldale, Back to the Future.
Yeah, all I can think of is Sunnydale, but that's Buffy.
That's Buffy. Yeah,
that's Buffy.
I think it's Hilldale.
Yeah.
And like the DeLorean.
I can't think of what it is.
The DeLorean drives into the theater
kills a bunch of gremlins.
Clearly
kills a bunch of gremlins.
So anyway, it was the same street as Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
We're picking up a lot of these little references.
Well, Spielberg.
Yeah, that's true. Is it my rave?
It is your rave.
Okay.
That was we're only 2 raves. That was just the mom's rave.
Yeah, we gotta get through these raves because we got 2 movies here. The Gremlins. I'll just leave it vague. The Gremlins, the way they looked, the way they acted,
terrifying
their
and delightful.
Snarls, the way they animated their lips, so they could do that really good snarl. I wrote down they were rightfully terrifying. And that's where I wrote down the Christmas tree with their eyes. That was just so perfect.
I liked that they all had personalities in the first one without going overboard.
Yep.
They just the one was like the flasher in the trench coat.
Yep.
That was like the one that was a little too much.
And the melting, like the effects of the melting was awesome.
It was right out of Raiders.
Yeah,
it was like that same effect. Yeah, where like when they threw it in the fireplace and all the skin melted off of it down to the skull.
Yeah,
and like liquefied.
Yeah, it was great. Oof. It was great.
That was a
great. So I guess great effects.
Yeah,
is my
strong agree.
Is my takeaway. Is my
universe or just specifically the first movie?
Specifically
the first movie. Hey, you know what the first movie didn't have? This wonderful Canadian themed restaurant.
That's true.
Did not.
Poutine and chocolate mousse. I can't think of anything else.
The horn's fantastic.
The horn
I'm glad
is
I got
fantastic.
The horn. What do we got here? Raves. I mean, we talked about I'll just say the concept. It's so ridiculous yet perfect for this era. And the rules. You can't get them wet. Sunlight kills them. Don't feed them after midnight.
Simple rules.
Simple rules. Yeah. Nonsensical rules. Specific rules. But it works.
Take it and run with it. Yeah.
And they do take it and run with it. And everything that happens, particularly in the first movie, is a result of a rule being broken.
Yeah. By Corey Feldman.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Not just the teacher breaks the rules.
I want to put this all on Corey's shoulders.
Okay, sure, we can. I mean, it's deservingly so.
Yes.
Deservingly so.
Sorry, Corey, I'm just kidding.
Have you ever the sunglasses?
The sunglasses?
That alone, Corey Feldman, we can blame anything on him. Sunglasses.
I don't know that reference.
It's a movie. Sunglasses. The Coreys. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman. It's terrible.
Did you model your life on it?
Possibly.
Shades? All right.
Possibly. All right. No, That Thing You Do did it for me at a very young age.
Okay.
I couldn't have been that young, maybe like mid-90s.
Yeah.
That Thing You Do.
Yeah,
I'll put that out there now.
I'm with you, but I'm not with you. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
It's a movie called That Thing You Do.
Awesome. And did you do it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a movie about a fictional band.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that thing you do became that thing you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
That thing you do squared.
I'll put that out there now.
The Shade story.
Long time listeners, that's the Shade story. So at a very young age, they give the drummer in the band a pair of sunglasses. Like, never take them off. That's your thing. I was like,
oh,
that's cool.
That became your thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Became my thing.
Interesting.
I was like, oh,
guys,
okay. I'm gonna wear sunglasses and never take them off.
It's always these 80s movies where we learn a lot.
It's a 90s movie, though. It's a 90s movie.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about Gremlins.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an episode about 80s movies
Sure.
that we learn a lot about.
Sure.
I also learned earlier in this episode that
I'm also light sensitive, and
you are also light
yeah.
sensitive.
So I was like, oh, that's gonna be my thing.
Yeah, you lucked out there.
I did.
It'd be like if someone had a limp but had a really cool cane.
Yeah.
You know, like
exactly.
It's useful.
It's House. He had
but it's also my shit.
House MD. He had the cane with the flames on it.
See, early in the episode, you said how you had the cousin and the uncle who got you into these things. And we always talk about growing up, and longtime listeners have really blamed my parents for this. I didn't experience a lot of these properties in movies and stuff like that. I was also the oldest of my generation. I was the one. I didn't have an older cousin or a younger.
Yeah, all your
uncle.
cousins are younger than you.
Yeah, so I was the first one on the frontier of pop culture. So I was kind of finding.
You're the pioneer.
Yeah,
you're the trailblazer.
I've always said that about myself.
Yeah,
always.
That's how I describe you when people ask.
Yes,
Sketch. He's a real trailblazer.
He's a real trailblazer. I modeled my life after a '90s movie, but Sketch, he's the trailblazer.
I didn't say I modeled my life after.
And that's what we all got from it, right, everybody?
Okay, sure.
Band agrees with me.
The band.
Band agrees with me.
Still
so
here. Professional. Still here.
All right, we got to get moving. We got
okay,
so much Gremlins to get through.
The concept. Do you have another one?
If I go into more raves, I'm going to start talking too. Am I allowed to start talking too?
I don't think I have any. I'll just say that. They set the dad up to be like the putz.
Yeah.
But he's actually very responsible, even though for a hapless inventor.
Mm-hmm.
He does show up towards the end of the movie, and he's like, oh
yeah.
They set him up that he's not gonna. He's like this kind of overweight, irresponsible guy. Inventors are stupid. That he's just not a responsible guy, and he's gonna be the one that. He's not.
I mean, he's legit out there. He's legit trying.
Yeah,
I mean, his inventions are horrible.
Well, this is also the end of the door-to-door salesman. The 1980s truly was the death of the door-to-door salesman.
His market is drying up.
And he's trying to. I get the idea. He was a door-to-door salesman. That market has been replaced by Tupperware and Avon, and he's done.
Yeah,
he is done. Department stores are everywhere, and he is now trying to create products that people will want to buy, so he can continue the livelihood.
His story that he is a relic of the past.
Yep,
and he is adapting the best he can, but in the wrong way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I thought I was pleasantly surprised with how they addressed that character.
Yeah. See, they handled characters pretty well in one.
They did. And yeah.
All right. Well, you brought up the dad, so let me bring up my favorite character in the second movie.
Okay.
Clamp. I ended up loving Clamp.
Loved him.
When I first saw Clamp, I thought, first I thought writing's on the wall, this is the ultimate bad guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna be pulling the strings on everything. He's gonna be the reason everything's going bad.
The most heinous and odious version of present day Donald Trump that has been depicted.
Because he was definitely
whatever your this is not a political indictment. This is the worst possible depiction of Donald Trump that is given us today. That is what the perception of this character is going to be. He's a horrible boss. He only cares about money.
And they were so leading up to that. They were so leading up to that. I mean, this was well, we can't get 80s, 90s Donald Trump for a movie, so let's just make one.
Yeah.
And
his book is literally a re-skinned Art of the Deal.
Oh, is it?
It looks exactly like it. I forgot what it's called.
He's got Clamp Tower. I love the Clamp logo.
Yes.
The Clamp logo was
it was perfect.
It was so smartly designed for just a set piece.
Yeah,
really.
And the one outside the
one that
squished earth spins.
I love it.
It's great.
But I also thought that
his escape hatch.
He has an escape hatch.
Oh my god, that is quintessential 80s parody, but I loved it. I loved it.
Well, he needs an escape hatch because did you notice the skyscraper has one
exit.
One
it's
exit.
The only way in and out. Yep.
But I thought he I said, oh, this is what I wrote down. He embodies chaotic neutral, and he's just a successful version of Billy's dad. He's just an inventor.
That's exactly
selling
what
stuff,
he is.
and it just so happens his
all work
have made him successful.
Yep.
And they don't necessarily all work because, like, the running gag is that like the revolving door never works in the movie.
They have to run through. They have to go all the way to the end where there's an actual door,
and the cops at the end even have to go use the.
And that was a Blues Brothers parody.
Was
the cops
it?
Were like,
oh, okay, yeah. But it was by mid movie when you're like, you know what? I actually think this
the turn
guy's
comes.
Like
he actually cares about his secretary.
Yes,
he actually he's actually trying to help. He's like, oh yeah, I can try my escape hatch, and then we'll put a giant banner up outside. Like, he's actively working for solutions,
and he's surprisingly rational too. Because when I think the guy's Forrester, like the security guy, he's Forrester. He's like, he's got Billy, and he's like, here's the main problem, and he's like, he's from the art department.
Right?
What kind of threat is this guy? I was like, this guy actually has a decent head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just wants to help. And when you kind of see all of his motivations, they kind of all boil down to, okay, yeah, he's making a lot of money off this, but he doesn't really necessarily seem greedy. He really just seems like,
really doesn't.
I want to provide to the people what the people want.
Right.
Like, when they're like, sorry about your building, he was like, it was always going to be a failure.
Yeah.
Like, this is what people want anymore. They want small town. I want you to help with it because you get it. I was like, you know what? This guy isn't necessarily like good and benevolent, but he's not bad.
He's a nutty professor futurist.
Yeah.
He's on the like the bleeding edge of what's happening in society. He wants to give people like usable products that they actually want, but is also ready to make a buck from it and is unapologetic for that.
And I really liked that.
I loved that.
I really liked that about him.
The best moment, like a great example of that is like Grandpa Munster has like a television show that's kind of like a joke television show, but he like, who told you could go on the air through all of this? I was like, oh, it just seemed like the thing to do. Yes, go down to Brooks Brothers. Like, here's a credit card. Get yourself some clothes. Get under, go on a vacation, then come back. You're doing the nightly news from now on. Like, what?
And this is probably part of what makes him such a successful businessman. He recognizes talent and worth in people.
Yeah.
You know what? Uncle Vampire is absolutely right.
Yeah.
This was he was live on the scene.
And he pulled the guy who was taking the tour to be the cameraman, who doesn't actually be his camera. Who's like,
do you have a camera? I am a camera.
I am a camera. Yeah.
Okay, not true, but okay, yeah, you got the spirit, buddy.
He was also from Weird Al's UHF movie.
Okay,
he was Wheel of Fish.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I see that. Yeah. So Clamp just ended up being a big rave for me, and I was so happy where he ended in the movie too.
Clamp 2020.
Yeah.
I get behind that.
I'd also get behind that. I trust Clamp.
I do.
I trust Clamp. He has good intentions.
He does. I mean, we'll all be stuck in elevators.
It was a little scary when they were like scanning ID badges because I was like, oh, we're like so fucking there. Like
I know, right?
Wow.
Yep. The vision of the world that came to be.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah. But I blame Forrester more for that.
I agree.
Clamp.
He got his comeuppance.
Yep. Yeah, but he was happy with him. My last note for Gremlins
Forrester was happy with the situation.
He smiled at the end. Did you see that? In the last scene, when Gremlinette is coming at him, he like resigned. First he's terrified.
Right.
Guys, we're talking about the Gremlin fucking scene.
Yeah. He is repeatedly sexually assaulted by a gremlin.
Absolutely. He is
repeatedly.
Absolutely.
His clothes are torn.
Yes, he's got lipstick all over him. We can read
basically,
the room.
For the third act of the movie, he's been sexually assaulted in a bathroom on the 40th floor.
Absolutely. But Gremlinette, Gremlinette, she's coming at him at the end.
She looks like a prostitute.
Oh, yeah. But she looks
like what you would imagine like a prostitute version of Miss Piggy would look like.
Yes, that's a very apt description.
Thank you.
A prostitute Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's coming at him at the end in like a wedding dress or something.
Yes.
And he at first looks terrified.
Just like that.
That's perfect.
Yep.
But at the end, he gives
smiles.
a little smile like, this isn't the worst thing in the world. And that's what we go out on. That's what we go out. That's a bold decision.
That is a bold decision.
To go out on that. Because that was the last note I wrote. It really stuck with me.
I must have not been paying attention at that point. I remember.
I'm going to urge you to go back and watch that.
I'm probably not going to do it.
I'm going to urge you to Google Gremlin Love.
Oh, did you do it?
Don't do that.
Did you do it?
I did not. Oh, okay. My God, I'm not willing to take that risk.
I'm also not willing. I don't want that in my browser.
That should be a fourth rule.
Do not
engage with intercourse with the gremlins.
I would imagine that's
unwritten rule.
I feel like he was not a willing participant.
No, he wasn't. And up until that point, there were no female gremlins. They were all very.
She is the only female gremlin.
Because she drank the potion.
The potion, yes.
Yeah, or the genes or whatever from the lab.
Yes.
They were all changing into all different
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. New batch. It taps right into the airplane style sense of humor.
Yes, it does.
I love that.
You're blending into my next rave, so I might jump in on this.
Still a terrifying concept, but it's like watching a live action cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's exactly what Joe Dante set out to create.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of why I put 2 a little bit higher up than 1 is that 1 didn't seem to know what it was at times, whether it was a horror, a comedy, and that, it was still a new genre. I don't think they had many examples to point to.
Yeah, they were building the plane as they were flying.
Yeah, they didn't seem to ever really know what they were or how to execute it. Gremlins 2 knew exactly what it was from go. And I think it had a clearer vision and executed that vision. But they did. They committed 100%. Even Billy and Kate, they're like, oh, yes, honey, no, honey. Like, they're living that, like, small town kids have gone to the big city shtick. And it really is. It's like almost like a spoof on the Honeymooners. Like the old sock bam right in the kisser kind of thing.
Now, would you agree that Billy and Kate did better in the second movie?
Yes, they're both much better.
Yeah. I would agree.
And I attribute that to essentially a decade going by. Yeah, they've just improved their craft. And there's something about, it's that like kind of slapstick Looney Tunes comedy.
Yeah.
It was really like the first live action Looney Tunes cartoon, I would say.
Well, let me jump in on this because this is the last rave that I have written down too. Specifically about 2, I wrote that this works as a spoof farce movie because it's charming, it's fun. It pokes fun at pop culture. It has so many references. It breaks the fourth wall a lot. Like
you're welcome, Deadpool.
The number one point when I was like, okay, this is a rave because of how much they're poking fun is when Kate starts to give her spiel about President's Day or Lincoln's birthday or whatever. Because that scene
when I was basically
in the first movie,
she's molested by an Abraham Lincoln
I think that's what we're
supposed in the park.
I think that's what we were getting to before was.
That is, I did make that note. But, like, are they suggesting that when she was 6, she was molested by an Abraham Lincoln impersonator?
And I should probably clarify here. That's not the part I'm finding humorous and
in the
lampooning.
First movie.
But in the first movie,
she has the trauma.
So dark. So dark about
basically her dad is the dumbest human being ever.
Well, I mean, he was doing something cute, and he wasn't drunk or anything. He slipped and broke his neck going down the chimney. He was trying
to actually slide down the chimney for Christmas morning.
I imagine, like,
Sketch, I'm going to encourage you not to try and slide down the chimney for Christmas this year.
Still have chimneys anymore?
Some people do.
Wow.
But I mean, no chimney.
No one should do it.
Works this way. There are chimney stacks inside the stone
in a
chimney.
In a kid's
movie, cannot
movie,
do this. Please don't try
I think
it,
Gremlins was at times. It worked.
It is like the urban legend of the dad going down the chimney, slipping, getting skunked, dying.
So dark. Because she goes real into it.
Yeah.
Like deer in a headlight.
Yes.
Like just blank stare, like just recounting this incredibly traumatic experience.
Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
Like the stereotypical, like glazed over in the eyes Vietnam veteran.
And that scene was pretty much the most disturbing thing in
Gremlins
1.
Yes.
So when when they turn around and spoof it on
President's Day,
I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for like addressing that you kind of recognize that about the first movie. I love that.
Yeah.
And then I also
The subject matter's a little didn't
sure.
age well,
Didn't
but
age well. But
what they were doing, like,
yes, what they were
this was
doing.
such an elaborate part of her character. Of course, everything traumatizes her, and she's going to have a story for any
Every holiday.
holiday event reference. Like, that's just who this character is.
And just like the first one, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Hard left turn.
Yeah, because the old guys like talking about George Washington,
Right?
Abraham,
Abraham Lincoln.
Don't bring up Abraham Lincoln. I remember when I was 8 years. Oh my god,
Yeah.
it was. And
perfect.
then Billy like pulls her away, like, okay, hun, we gotta
go.
We can't do that right now.
Yeah. Snap out of it.
Which makes me feel like he's dealt with this a lot. In the 6 years
Yes,
that have passed.
Yeah. This is just one in a long string of when I was X happened. I'm scarred for life.
Yep. Loved it. That was just smart comedy writing.
It is just smart writing.
Yep.
And I'll just say this. I think, to me personally, I think the movie benefited having not been written by Chris Columbus. If you're someone like me who does not like his particular style of storytelling.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
You keep that real close to the chest.
I do.
Yep.
It's the ace up my sleeve that I hold on to.
Yeah.
I don't publicize it.
All right. Can we move on to rants?
Rants,
because
please, yeah.
This peppers in really well to one of my rants.
Great.
Okay. And again, mine are separated by 1 and 2, so I'm going to skip ahead to 2 and just say that having it be so much of a spoof movie took away a lot of the Gremlins aspects of the movie.
Gremlins 2, here's my note. Gremlins 2, which I think is more authentic vision, is too heavy with the commentary. It needed to be sharper.
Yeah.
It needed to be a sharper instrument.
It was too much just not Gremlins anymore.
Yes.
Nobody died. Like, okay, Christopher Lee died. Other than that, I don't think anybody died. Well, he was electrocuted. I'm pretty sure he's pretty dead gonzo. But, like...
If there was a third movie, I'm sure we would have seen him back.
And the premise was it was there.
Right.
This smart building. These Gremlins can wreak havoc.
Perfect.
And they don't really go back to that, like, mechanical tampering anymore in this movie.
Only in the control room when they physically bust out of
and that's like it.
And that's it, yeah.
And the whole building was just
it was a perfect concept that they never tapped into.
And I was legit excited at the beginning of the movie when I was like, this is the setting.
Right.
They're going to run amok.
I saw that more as a spoof on Die Hard.
Yeah.
That like the whole thing with the building was a rip on Die Hard.
Yeah.
And I think it was I agree. It was a big rant for me.
Yeah.
Because it was a perfect setup that they never addressed.
Yeah.
Where was the gremlin in the machine for his escape route? Because, like, how did he get from the 40th floor or whatever it was to a potted plant on ground level without a gremlin
somewhere in the machine?
Yep.
I mean, if you're paying attention at home, if you're following along at home, I call this a rave. In that making this a spoof movie is a great spoof movie, but making this a Gremlins movie.
Not a great Gremlin movie.
It's not a great follow-up. And I'm sure that's why it tanked.
Yeah.
Is because most people went to this not wanting a spoof movie.
Right.
Wanting a follow-up to Gremlins.
I agree.
But Gremlins end up being like this.
I don't think...
This group of characters is a great avenue to do spoofs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these characters could have stayed together in other universes. Not dealing with Gremlins. And I think it's like Futterman and Billy and Kate. Send them on adventures.
Sure.
Dealing with it, like, put them in the Critters universe. Put them in like random. They're just, and they work in this like slapstick human cartoon world. I'll just say my first rant: all of the character Gremlins in the new batch.
Yeah. That
were clearly marketing for toys. The chef, the smart one, the dumb one, the bat, the electrician, and the prostitute. Like, it was just the how did the Gremlin learn to be an electrician?
Merchandising.
You know what I mean? Like why did the smart one have like an Australian accent? Was that a thing? I feel like that was a thing. Like that voice. I remember that voice from other things.
Yeah, maybe at the time.
Maybe like a claymation cartoon from this era.
Maybe.
But maybe like a National Geographic type thing that they were spoofing. I don't. Just none of those characters worked.
No.
But it was taking what they had established in the first movie of the personalities of the malicious gremlins and elevating that and making fun of it. Like, why was Stripe evil from Go?
Right.
Why, like, they drank the stuff and they mutated.
Yeah.
Then we got characters, and it just didn't hit. It was clearly from a merchandising aspect.
And it did. It reeked of that, and it reeked of just like payoffs, like just sloppy setups to payoffs, like the one turning into a gargoyle. It was okay, it has to turn into a bat, so it then can turn into a gargoyle.
It's a gargoyle.
But wait, it can't go outside. Okay, inject it with sunscreen.
Right.
And like it was just like sloppy.
It was.
And then
we just want to be a civilized society.
Yeah, and
like
that
murders another gremlin. Was that civilized?
That brings me to another rant. Can I?
Sure.
May I?
Please. By all means.
In 2, they just disregard too many of their own rules.
Yeah.
Their own things that they set up. They just disregard. And there's simple rules. Don't go in the daylight. Our first scene of Gizmo, he runs out into the daylight.
Out into the daylight.
He should be dead.
He should be dead instantly.
You know, it's daytime. There was a workaround there. There was an easy workaround.
Workaround.
And
send him into the sewers.
Like when he's being photocopied.
That
light should have just burned him up to nothing. That's
Gizmo should have been blind for the rest of the movie.
Like disregarding for gas. Yeah. And you still got to follow your rules.
Right.
And then when Brainy, like you said, just wanting to be civilized, but he doesn't really want to be civilized. He doesn't. So what is his end game? Like, what is he trying to do? Just get out of the building? Is he smart enough to think he can talk his way out of the building? Because nothing I've seen deposits that idea.
He's just straight up going to murder people.
Yeah. So there's too many of these like incongruencies in 2.
Yeah.
That just like, you had a simple set of rules.
Right.
You had a simple set of expectations, and you just kind of blew them away.
You know what? You disregarded them, but you didn't replace them with anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just while we're talking about the rules, how do the rules work?
We're a stickler for the rules.
Well, if you're going to establish rules, like, and they do address this in the sequel. What happens if they're on a plane? What if they're traveling on a plane?
They do slightly address this in the sequel, which I appreciate.
Feeding them after, like, what if there's a crumb stuck in their tooth and they swallow it after midnight? What if? Why do they? How much water? Like, don't get them wet. Is their amount of their reproduction proportionate to the amount of water that they come into contact with?
Yeah, and how much water must be in a fluid before it's considered getting them wet?
Right,
because they're drinking beer all over the place.
Exactly,
and they're fine.
Sweat? Does sweat make them reproduce?
These are all great questions.
I don't know. And sunlight, like sunlight. Why is light painful to them, but sunlight kills them? Do they have to be in direct sunlight? Can it be a reflection? Seems like it can be a reflection. They establish rules, but there are just too many gray areas in them.
I agree. I definitely agree. Listen.
I'm listening.
I only got one more rant because we're like so close to big questions. And I only have like one more like legitimate rant that we haven't already like talked about like organically. Do you have any more rants?
I don't.
Okay, so I'll just finish it with this. And this is just a cut and dry rant.
Okay.
I wasn't provided with something. In Gremlins 1, we really set up this character of Gerald, who's a real dick. Yeah, he works at the bank with Billy.
Judge Reinhold.
Yeah. Is that who it was?
Yeah,
I remembered him from the Santa Claus. He's the new husband in Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's in Fast Times with Phoebe Cates. He's Billy Rosewood and Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay. Well, he's really set up as just a dick. He's lecherous on Kate, and he's a douchebag to Billy.
Yep.
And we never get a Gerald death or a Gerald attack or anything.
I feel like
something was cut out.
I feel like he probably quit the movie and was filming Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that could be.
But
it's never even addressed.
It's not. We never see him again.
No. And that was a big rant for me because I wanted my. He
needed to get his comeuppance. Yep.
I needed those comeuppance.
Yep.
That'd be a shirt too. Needed those comeuppance. Because it left me wanting. So anyway, I agree. That's all I'll say for rants.
I had a note about him. Yep.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
I agree. Strong agree.
Yeah.
And that brings us to
some holiday big questions.
Big questions.
Some big Qs. Let's stuff your stockings with some BQs.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions, so
let's just get right into them.
Yeah. Some of them we've already answered. Where do the Gremlins keep getting guns? Gremlin-sized guns.
The Gremlins,
and crossbows,
especially in the first movie. I mean, those
every time you turn around, those Gremlins have like 38 caliber revolvers, snub-nosed 38 caliber. Specifically, where do they keep getting them?
That was another, not to bring it back to rants, but I was like getting whiplash with like the tone that was being set.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like in the mall, Billy was legit about to die.
Oh, yeah.
Billy was shot with an arrow.
He was shot with
He's
an arrow.
Fired at with guns. Like he is
chainsaw. They're going to chainsaw him at one point.
Legit going to die.
Oh, yeah.
Violently.
Yes.
Cut to Gizmo driving the Barbie dream car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. My emotions don't know what to feel right now. Should I feel just like
Gizmo?
whimsy
I mean, in the second movie, he goes from cute and cuddly to Rambo.
Yep.
Like, what happened to you? I guess they just pushed him too far.
They pushed him too far. I guess that's what happened in the in the photocopier. He got pushed too far.
Yep.
Yeah. What was your question?
Where do they get all of their guns from?
I don't know. I had a similar question when the Gremlin is working on the elevator in the second movie, which I guess is a mechanical part.
Yeah.
But he has a Gremlin-sized hard hat that has
the electrician
for his ears to go through.
Where the fuck do you get that?
Where are they getting these things? It almost deposits that the Gremlins almost have like a little bit of magic, like Maker's magic,
or like a Santa's workshop kind of thing, or like the what's the shoe one? The fairy tale with the shoes,
the shoemaker elves,
the shoemaker elves.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or like the underpants gnomes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they getting this stuff from?
I don't know. I mean, I like that they use guns because it
but
fits
where
the
do they get the Gremlin gun-sized bullets?
There's a whole. I mean, it's a whole economy. Really?
Seriously?
Yeah. The '80s really had to clean up the streets of Gremlin firearms. It's almost like they found child-sized firearms. And maybe that was a problem in the 80s.
That was the stereotype.
Yeah, we were young.
So that's another question.
Okay, go for it.
But no, you do your first one.
Okay. Well, and we've kind of touched on this a couple of times, but why do all of Gizmo's offsprings immediately and innately hate Gizmo?
That's a great question. I mean, I think I asked you that earlier.
Yeah, and you said why are they all mischievous immediately? But
they immediately start.
They all hate Gizmo.
They hate him. Yeah,
from the start.
Yep.
And then they go on to make other Gremlins, but
they
also hate Gizmo,
right? But they don't hate their makers.
Exactly. Why is Gizmo so hated, and why? I mean, part of me can answer it that Gizmo seems to be the kindest or the gentlest of the Gremlins. Maybe he's the black sheep. All Gremlins are like the ones that we see, but Gizmo's the one that breaks the mold.
I think Gizmo is the original.
Yeah.
And kind of like making a copy of a copy. They all degrade. Yes. Each generation is somehow more degraded and degenerated and more twisted.
Because they even, in the second movie, they were even having printed t-shirts made that said Gizmo with a little line through them.
Right. Again, where the fuck did they get
There's just a whole bunch of
moment they
Gremlins.
Go to the... in the second movie, they have the signal is out. The countdown, and it has a Gremlin caricature poking out from behind it.
Yes.
Where's the Gremlin art department?
There's a whole Gremlin makers community.
That was the thing that broke it for me in the second movie when they had Gremlin themed
everything.
Yeah, cut in between when the signal goes out. The technical difficulty Gremlin.
The warning. Yeah.
Yeah. That was too much.
That did push the fourth wall break a little bit too much.
When did they have time to create this? So where do they keep? I like your answer that they have a magical maker,
they have a
kind of workshop
maker space.
Yeah, like an infinite hammer space where they can pull these things out of.
And I guess just the answer that we've never gotten is why they come out hating Gizmo, and not just hating him, but knowing that that's Gizmo and we hate him.
Yes, without ever having been informed.
Yeah,
I agree.
Kind of bothers me. It's almost a rant. It's like a ranty big question.
Yeah.
You have a big question?
What is a Mogwai?
Isn't a Mogwai? Isn't that just Chinese for monster?
Is it? I'm asking. I feel like there's like a legend of the Mogwai. That's kind of like an abominable snow monster.
I feel
like
and you know what?
I guess I could have Googled it, but I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll address this in our midstream. We'll look it up for real. But me just like spitballing here, I think that's just Chinese for monster because I think I saw on a plane once a Chinese movie that was called Mogwai, and it was just about like monsters. Like a monster world that lived
I'll take it.
like congruent to our world.
I'll take it.
I think that's all it means. But
sure.
if I'm wrong, I'll definitely
If you're wrong,
correct
you're going to own it.
myself.
Okay.
Yep.
You got another BQ. I'll try and give you a big A.
Can't gremlins cure world hunger?
Infinite.
It's an infinite food source.
Yes, a sustainable infinite food source.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just need to kind of get over the taste. I imagine they don't taste good.
I imagine they taste like lizard.
Yeah.
You ever eaten alligator or crocodile?
I've had gator. Yeah.
I've had gator.
It's
I imagine
bad.
they taste like gator.
Yeah.
The skin, you don't want to eat the skin.
You don't want to eat the skin, and I bet
imagine
they
taste like gator.
You probably have to do something because they seem slimy, like under the skin. They seem slimy. You probably have to do something
I would imagine
to prepare them. But
maybe a nice beer batter.
You could totes eat gremlins.
Maybe some
and solve world hunger.
Some cornmeal.
That should be Clamp's next project. I really thought, and I guess I was giving the movie too much credit, like thinking
that's where they were going to go.
Well, when he was talking about how they're doing on the genetic cloning procedures, I'm like, ooh, they're going to use Gizmo to unlock cloning. No, that's not the direction they went. That was
too smart.
That was a little too smart.
You gave them too much credit.
I gave them too much credit. He was just looking for his Ebola.
He was just looking for Ebola.
Yep.
Next question. Did Steven Spielberg just need money or something?
I think he always has just needed money.
I don't understand. Like, he is, I think, the creative consultant for all of Universal at this point. 1984.
Okay.
They've like given him the keys to Universal Studios, and he's gotten to like redesign the thing so that you can shoot any movie anywhere, anytime on the Universal Studios lot. Did he just need money? Like, why is Steven Spielberg's name on this? I didn't find that in any of the research. It's not. It doesn't really feel like a Steven Spielberg movie.
I can't give you a big A, but I'll give you a medium-sized guess.
Sure. I like that.
An MSG, if you will. I really feel like
PQs and MSGs. I like that. Wow.
I really feel like it's just to the point where kind of like how Lucasfilm is just like stamped on everything because of the involvement with special effects. It felt like
ILM.
It felt like at this time it was just like Steven Spielberg is just involved with creature.
Anything
adventure.
That's coming out of Universal.
Yeah. That's my MSG.
I'll take it.
It's not great and it doesn't go down easy and sometimes it gives you indigestion. But
sometimes it does.
That's an MSG for you.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I only have one last big question because we've already answered all.
I also have just one big question.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
What
on earth is going on at the jail in Clamp Tower? Because something has to have been cut because Billy gets out of jail in the morning.
Right.
And he has a magician's bouquet.
Yes.
That he got in jail.
Jail.
So now that's strange. But pair that with the fact that on his way out, he is passing a literal parade of mimes being carted in handcuffs into jail. What is going on? It is never addressed. It is the craziest thing. It's like Clamp has like a war on like illusions. And I kind of get that, like as a tech guy, that he would be anti like magic and distractions.
Oh my god! Longtime listeners, Sketch just broke me with this one.
It's so bizarre to me. Those were two very clear decisions. He produces a magician's bouquet to give to Kate. There is a line of at least 6 mimes being carted out of a police van.
I wish I had an answer for this one, Sketch, and I just don't.
Anyone who worked on Gremlins, guys, if you were one of the mimes on Gremlins,
please write in.
I was going to say call, They'd
They'd
have to write in. They can't call.
Yeah, they can't call.
Yeah.
The system is down.
I would love to know. I mean, maybe it was just a group of like criminals that their whole shtick is miming.
It's possible.
But then what about the magician's bouquet? something's going on at Clamp Tower, and I don't know what it is, but it's wildly more interesting than anything else in this movie.
There's a song there somewhere. Long-time listeners.
There is. Anywho.
I don't think we'll find it.
No, you don't even have an MSG for me?
I don't have an MSG. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just
MSG. An MSG. Perhaps there was a street performer convention in town.
Okay. And it got rowdy, got out of hand.
That did not have a permit
to
be demonstrating.
Yeah.
And they were all carted off to jail.
Yeah.
That's the best MSG I can come up with.
Maybe they were protesting Clamp Industries or technology because he was making it too easy for the general public to see through their tricks.
It is possible.
And he was ruining the magic.
It is possible.
And they were just protesting.
Possible.
And they got detained. Okay.
That's fair.
I mean, I'll take it. I want to invent something more whimsical than that stuff.
I have one last big question.
All right. What's your last BQ for this holiday season?
It's kind of dark.
Oh, for the holiday season.
If the evil gremlins spawn from Gizmo, why not just kill Gizmo?
Oh, yeah.
And solve the problem of gremlins?
Yeah. Yep.
Why did they not just kill Gizmo?
Yeah, I mean...
Particularly after the second movie. And I understand Gizmo is innocent in this.
Yeah.
It is not malicious on his part, but twice now, I guess there aren't mass casualties in the second movie, but a lot of property damage, but conservatively, a town was depopulated. They are like malicious, vicious creatures that run amok.
Yeah.
Why not just kill Gizmo?
I mean, what makes Gizmo evil by association is the fact that he is so cute and endearing.
Yeah.
And that he has happened to latch onto Billy, who is caring and nurturing, and so Billy will protect his life
at any cost.
But a more practical person, yes, would.
Billy breaks into a high security lab to steal Gizmo.
Yep, he does. Wasn't that hard?
Once immediately causing this second outbreak. The second outbreak is Billy's fault.
I agree.
He could have just left Gizmo.
That
is cruel. I understand.
Oh, no, it is. Listen,
but,
it's just a lesser evil.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that is the solution. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I don't
for
want
Gizmo.
That to be the solution, but I think it is.
I mean, I imagine there are other Malgai out there in other corners of the world.
I don't know if
under
there
lock
are.
and key.
I don't know if there are.
I'd like to think that there's like
I think it's him.
I think there's like a secret society of mystical men all across the country, and each of them has one.
Okay,
that's I like to think that.
Sure.
Maybe the mimes were there.
Maybe
they're like their foot soldiers.
Maybe
are the mimes.
Maybe
this theory is coming
possible
together now.
Yeah, there it is, and it's now turning into a sketchy theory.
Now it's turning into
slowly,
a sketchy
but
theory.
it's getting closer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's just what you have to do with Gizmo. Because honestly, like the alternative is you keep him in that little box. How long has he been in that box? That's pretty cruel.
That is very cruel.
And he just likes to dance, and you're not even letting him watch TV.
He does like to just dance and watch TV.
Like Gizmo has a cursed existence.
Yeah, he does.
And there is no, I mean, all he can do is wish for sweet, sweet death. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Wish for sweet, sweet death.
Yeah. I think what it just comes down to is Gizmo is an analogy of the human condition.
Sure.
And we can only breed evil, and we love consumerism.
Happy Life Day, everybody.
There you go.
There you go.
And that, guys,
brings us to
is Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins. Yeah. I think it's time for
Shades and Sketch Recommendations. Poor Gizmo.
Oof.
What a life.
What a downer to end on.
What a downer.
Sketch, what are you going to recommend?
I should have ended on my big question.
You should have.
Yeah. In hindsight. Yikes.
Whoops.
Guys, I am going to recommend, it's the holiday season, so if you're looking for any last-minute gift ideas out there, not for me, although.
You got plenty of options.
You got plenty of options for me. But I recently played a new board game that I really, really enjoyed, so I'm going to recommend another board game.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to get the name right, because it's a mouthful. Quacks, of Quedlinburg. Quacks of Quedlinburg.
I'm detecting a duck theme.
Yeah, you'd think, but
Oh,
there
this is
are
like-
no ducks.
This is like Crazy Quack.
It's like
Mad
yeah,
Scientist.
It's loosely themed that you're like part of like a Renaissance fair and you're like a healer. You're like you're not a doctor, but you're like a magical healer.
Quacks.
Yeah.
Of Quedlinburg.
Yes, and the
First try, long-time
the
listeners.
gameplay of the game is that you and the people you're playing against, you are making potions, and
That's a nice Gremlins tie in here.
right, see, and you have a sack of ingredients, and you have to pull them out at random, and different ingredients have different effects on your potion, aka your gameplay, and at the end of each round, how successful your potion was allows you to purchase more ingredients. And so your ingredient pool that you're always choosing from random can greatly improve, and therefore you can make better and better potions. But you have to be careful because some of the ingredients are just filler, and some of them are downright dangerous, and they can make your potion explode. Which kind of takes you out of the round. So it's kind of like a fun game of chance, but there's like a
feel like
certain
this-
element of whimsy to it.
I feel like this was in a Harry Potter movie.
It does feel very much like potion mixing.
Potion class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like a lot of fun. It was a super light game. Doesn't take long to set up.
Quacks
of
Quedlinburg.
Quedlinburg. And yeah, it's like not hard
fun
to
to say.
teach. It's
Not hard to teach.
it's fun and light to play. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of thinking. It's like a lot of like gambling. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, should I
sure.
pull out one more and see if I can go one more before this thing blows up in my face?
Will I get the desired outcome? Will I create a prostitute gremlin?
Yeah.
Hell-bent on sexual molestation.
What if that was your desired outcome, though? Then it's a double win, I guess.
Uh,
So that's Quacks of Quedlinburg, if I'm saying it correct. But if you just type in Quacks, like
You
it'll
think
probably
it'll come
pop
up?
up. Yeah.
okay.
Quacks of, I bet.
Quedlinburg.
Yeah. It's a fun game. I
Rolls
recommend
off
it.
the tongue.
Yeah.
I like saying it.
It's a fun game.
I am going to recommend
Mhm.
Tremors.
Oh,
You ever seen
yeah.
Tremors?
Oh, yeah. I've seen
I love
Tremors.
Tremors.
I've seen at least a couple of them.
Oh yeah, they did a series. They
Yeah.
did a reboot movie.
Mhm.
I don't know who the actor is. Michael something. I can't think of his name. He plays Bert Gummer.
Mhm.
Is the one common link.
Between all the movies.
All of the movies,
Yeah.
TV. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
They did a prequel where they went to the Old West.
Mhm.
Just a fun.
I think I saw
kinda
that
horror
one. That might have been
comedy.
the last one I saw. They're fun, though.
They're fun.
I would
movies.
love to
The
do
first
Tremors.
one has Kevin Bacon
Yes,
in
it does.
kind of surprisingly, and Corey Feldman.
Oh, Corey's in that, too.
Corey Feldman is in the first. Oh, maybe it's not Corey Feldman. Yeah, Corey Feldman's in the first one.
Sure. And if you're wrong,
Or
you
the
correct it
second
on a
one.
midstream.
He's either in the first or the second one.
Mhm.
I know the kid changes, but Corey Feldman is in one of them. And yeah, Kevin Bacon. It's just a fun, ridiculous horror comedy.
Yeah.
They call them graboids,
Mhm.
burrow underground, and yeah. you get
Reba
your-
McEntire's in the first one.
Reba McEntire is in the first one, yeah. And it's just a fun time.
It is fun.
It's not particularly scary. I mean, to small children, kind of gave me a fright the
Yeah.
first time I saw it.
They're terrifying monsters.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It is fun.
Just a fun time.
Yeah.
And there's
Good
an
effects,
infinite
too.
supply of them.
Good like gross
They're
effects.
surprisingly good effects
Mhm.
for when it came out
Mhm.
and the budget that
Mhm.
I imagine that they had subsequently.
And I haven't seen it in many, many years. But
They
From
were
what I
a
remember,
staple of the Sci-Fi Channel in the late 90s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
early
I mean, that's
2000s.
where I saw it. Like, it was
Yeah.
on Sci-Fi all the time.
I really feel like the series was a test case for making the Ash versus the Evil Dead series.
Maybe.
Like Ash versus Evil Dead was very much in the vein of the Tremors TV series.
We should do Tremors. That's
I would love to do Tremors.
I would really like to, too.
Be
The
a good
daunting
follow-
thing is there's like 5 movies now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That'll just be like an ongoing project.
We could do the
We'll
first 3.
Eventually,
You could
get
probably
to
do the first
Tremors.
3.
Yeah.
Do it as a trilogy.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. The Tremors trilogy. The TT.
Pretty sure they went to space at one. No, that was Critters. Never mind. Critters went to space.
Tremors would have a hard time getting to space.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Tremors and Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah.
Those are your holiday recommendations. You think we would do like a holiday special or like, hey, take time off from all this media and just enjoy your family? No.
Nope. Go watch something.
Not us. That's not why you listen to
Go
us.
watch this franchise with possibly 8 entries in it.
Yep. And play a game that's
Play a
really
game.
hard to wrap your tongue around.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Sketch, thanks for potting with me today.
Yeah, and
It was
Merry Christmas,
Happy
Happy
Life Day. Happy
All of them.
holidays.
All
of the holidays.
Yeah. And to you also, our longtime listeners.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever you celebrate, thanks for celebrating
With us.
with us.
Thanks for geeking out with us.
Yeah, with Jade Sketch and the Geeking Out Band.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good job, guys.
Did you like their holiday album they were
It's
playing behind you?
Priceless.
They nail Silent Night.
They do.
Yeah.
Zinga!
That's a little pun there for you
It
guys.
is, yes. Well done. If you are a fan of the show, you can find us online on Twitter. You can tweet us at Go with Shades and Sketch.
And if you want to send Shades some holiday messages, you can tweet him at Go4Shades.
And if you would like to tell Sketch how much you appreciate him, you can tweet him at Go4Sketch.
Yeah. You can also find us on the Facebooks just by searching
Geeking Out,
Shades Sketch.
Shades and Sketch.
You can email the show at gowithshadesandssketch@gmail.com.
There you go.
Mhm.
And you can find us on our Patreon, patreon.com/shadesansketch, where we occasionally offer some fan exclusives, some polls for properties and things that you would like us to tackle in upcoming episodes, and exclusive content.
Yep.
And we are very appreciative to all of our patrons, as well as all of our longtime listeners.
Yeah.
And
And really
Happy-
just thanks for
thanks
making us
for-
a part of your new holiday tradition.
yeah,
I mean, I think it's the perfect way to spend the holidays.
absolutely.
Not with your family.
No,
This isn't always a family-friendly show.
put on your earbuds. Go off somewhere by yourself, neglect your family and friends. Spend a little time with Sketch, geeking out. See you next time.
See you next time, guys.